Guys, it's Anna from Bright Lane Gardens, and today we're going to talk about growing peppers. Specifically, I wanted to talk to you about a pruning method that I use on all of my small pepper plants that helps to result in a bushier plant, a sturdier plant, and more flower and fruit production than I've ever seen before. This method, of course, is called topping. Topping is a pruning method that can be used on a wide variety of herbaceous plants, including peppers and tomatoes, which I actively grow in my garden. The one thing that I really love about topping plants is it really helps to shorten the height of the plant and drives more of that growth down to the base of the plant, resulting in these nice, bushy looking plants that don't get toppled over by some of the high winds that we can get in the summer here in northern Michigan. So let's start with the basics. The pepper plant that I'm holding here is a shishito pepper. It is a Japanese style pepper. It's a sweet pepper, super yummy if you haven't tried them before, but it's also a smaller size pepper. So the first thing that I want to mention in this video is small peppers do well with this style of pruning, and larger peppers like your bell peppers don't fare out so well. So if you are trying this pruning method for the first time, I recommend sticking with a smaller pepper like a banana pepper, a shishito pepper, or a jalapeno pepper for practice. Now, if you look closely at this plant, it has not yet been pruned. It's about 6 to 8 inches tall, and as you can see, it is starting to grow little itty bitty buds at each leaf node here. This is great. This plant right here is perfect timing and the perfect size for me to top it. Essentially what I want to do is I'm going to make a 45-degree cut directly above the 3rd or 4th leaf node of this plant. What that's going to do is it's going to help drive the nutrients back down into the roots, and it will force those little baby nodes that are just starting to grow to really branch out and develop into full leafy branches. This plant that I'm holding here is also a shishito pepper. I grew him from seed starting in March of this year. I just couldn't wait to get my garden started. And as you can see, he's doing really well. He's very big, very bushy. I want to show you, I did go ahead and make that cut. That was the original main stem there. So that is where I topped this plant. And from there, he grew out several main branches and really got a lot of bushy growth down at the bottom. This is exactly what I want to see when I top my pepper plants, because this is maximum growth production and this is maximum flower production, which of course will turn into those delicious peppers. So back to my little baby pepper plant here that's ready to be pruned. I'm looking at the leaf nodes. I see these really tiny leaves here. Since they are so small and don't produce a lot of energy for the plant, I'm going to kind of ignore those, and I'm going to go 3 more up. So here's 1, 2, 3, and I might go a 4th just to make sure this guy can make it. The other thing I am really basing this on is you can definitely see these buds here are much bigger than the buds that are developing higher up on the plant. So if the bud is already really starting to develop and really ready to go, I'm going to want to cut directly above that bud just to make sure I can drive as much energy down to it as possible. So back to my little baby plant here. This guy is ready to be pruned. He's exactly the height that I want him. I love seeing those new buds pop up on each of the leaf nodes, so I know that he's going to handle this pruning well. Now, in front of me here, I do have a pair of garden shears. If you have the smaller pair of scissor snips, those are even better. I have a pair, I of course don't know where they are today, so we're stuck with these. I did give this a wipe down with some alcohol to sanitize the tool. Plants can get infected just like we can get infected, and a young plant like this that's going through such an aggressive pruning, definitely you want to protect that plant against infection. So at minimum, rinse your tool off. If you have some alcohol that you can sanitize the tool, that's even better. Looking at the leaves down here at the bottom, these guys are so small and aren't really producing much, so I'm really not going to count those in my count. I'm going to count the leaves above it. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of those have really healthy buds starting at each of the base of the nodes, so I really want to keep those on and drive the growth back down to those buds. I'm going to make my snip directly above this 4th leaf here. One thing you might notice is I did the snip on a 45-degree angle. The reason you want to do it on an angle is you want to make sure that any water that gets stuck on top of the plant can easily run off of that stem. If the water is held on a flat cut at the top of that stem, you run the risk of infection. As I watch this plant continue to grow, these leaves will continue to develop and grow into a nice bushy stem. You can see the growth down here in all of the new leaves that have started from these leaf nodes. These will grow out into mature branches. This plant's about 4 months old right now, so I hope that he'll continue to produce for several more months until the winter hits here in northern Michigan. This pruning method is tried and true with some of the smaller pepper plants that are commonly grown in gardens here in Michigan. I highly recommend giving this a try if you want bushier, sturdier plants with a higher fruit production. If you give this method a try and have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in.